This stuff here, Yerushalmi Pesachim. In the article, Oz V'Hara edition, we're on the second line of Daf Chav Daled Amud Aleph, Taman Armin, which in the Vilna is on Daf Chav Aleph Amud Aleph, and it is counting up from the Mishnah. Beginning of Gimel, it's 3, 6, 9 lines up. Taman Armin. In Bava they said Traktor. So Pnei Moshe says, instructed Pnei Moshe, let's read it. Traktor. Rabbi Yitzchak Trikta, who's Sufganim. It's kind of light battered donut. And this compared Kam Nechalim. Trisha Shasha Malach Dal Dine Trikta. That's Trikta. Blasa Raka here. It's soft batter. Feel Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yitzchak Paskin the Abba Chad with the Shari to make one at a time. It's permitted. And once there's time, you want to make 2 or 3 zachas one after another. Also, it's forbidden. And can look at the other, but might make unless you wash your hands in water between each and every one. Should we tell Shabbat Saraka because it's a soft batter? Nibaka batzak biyada. The dough adheres to your hands. Chametz and asachaka is going to ferment whatever's made afterwards. Once, since we talked yesterday about the dough which is stuck to the side of a mixing bowl, we bring it down here as well. So back to the Gemara. Tractor Rabbi Yitzchak Meber Chad, to make one at a time. Trade lasa aser 2 or 3 is forbidden. Ela in shazak yodei b'maya, unless you rinse your hands in water in between. Tani, we learn keep tios, be rustios. So the these are boxes in which it's like kiptios, like cabinets. Birosios, the in which you put chametz. Tzarich lebar. I don't know what birosios means, but there's different pshatim here. That was in the Yerushalmi Pesachim. The Korban Eidah says it's me'as savin shem farim bo pirei lechem motzasi. He found the pshat that it's grass water which you dissolve piece of bread. The Pnei Moshe says "Haminu kikim asumir kochim," some a type of confection made out of various different type of spices. Okay, so everybody has really different pshatim here. Yerushalmi Pesachim brings down that to support his perspective that kubitos and cross reference in Shumas Bergud Halacha Gimel, the kibutin or containers. It says by kibutin shamurios and birasios, and he brings down references that that was a place where they actually used to make these containers. It references several potential sources for that. Okay, in any event, either it's going to talk about tarovis or chametz, like the Korban Eidah Pnei Moshe of some sort, but really, that's the Yerushalmi Pesachim points out that should have been in Mishnah Aleph, not here. So that he said, but based on his philological analysis, he says it's about the cabinets which you put chametz. So you have to be a var. In other words, you have to check them out and make sure there's no chametz left in them. Rabbi Yossi Paskin being plulilina, and again, the Yerushalmi Pesachim says it's based on a Greek word, and it means the place where you stockpile your mixing bowls, your kitchen cabinets. You have to go and make sure to eliminate any potential comments there. The Rabbi Yochanan said, "Batzek she tzinain." So let's go back to the Mishnah. It's batzek hacheresh. We had there batzek hacheresh or batzek hacheres, 2 different pshatim in the Korban Eidah. So the Rabbi Yochanan says that's batzek she tzinain, and the dough which cooled down. Not exactly what it means, but it seems that it potentially became overheated and then it cooled down again. So I'm not sure what the story is. So our Mishnah said, also you have to look at other doughs which had been worked for some amount of time. So lo yasham acher ke'etzibo, there's the dot in the Vilna, but the dot is superfluous. Lo yasham acher ke'etzibo sheichmitz, you don't have another one to which compared to see that it became chametz, so you know this one became chametz, or vice versa. Ad echon. So how long do you have until so you know something because that you have to consider something is chametz? In other words, if it's left alone, not worked over, you have to assume that the problem. Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Ula the Keser Mishem Yechina said, "Akdei luch arbas meal." The this is up to the amount of time it takes to walk 4 meal, which depending on your share of a meal is either 72 minutes, 90 minutes, 96 minutes, which is, as the good Shas pointed out, which is much bigger kula than the Bavli, because the Bavli says you have a meal, which the Chumrah says 18 minutes, and here it says 4 meal, which is a big discrepancy. And Yerushalmi Pesachim brings them here. He says it's a super duper kula, and perhaps it's about where there are no simani chimutz at all. In other words, if there's some simani chimutz, if it got warm, like the batzei got cheresh, even it's tani, perhaps it's a problem. But anyway, the way Pashim here, it's a very profound kula over the Bavli. Okay, so it says the next Mishnah, Gimel. How you mafresh challah in tuma? So how you do on Pesach? So the Korban Eda points out. Moshe also. I'm going to read the Korban Eda. Challah tuma shid meisa isa b'shuv and the challah nitelus men real achila. So chis kohen. So kohen can't eat the challah. Ketzah v'shis obiyot. So Pesach, how you take up challah on Pesach? I mean, in your challah feist Pesach, you can't bake it on Pesach. Ma'achash and real achila because it's not suitable to eat. L'shoysa l'sorah b'bayrev. And to delay and burn it after the night after Yontif. If it's not possible, it's not possible, it's not going to chametz. We're sorry to burn it, or to give it to dogs. You can't burn chametz can't burn kachim on Yontif, including truma and challah, and also you're not supposed to give it to the dog. So what do you do? Back to the Mishnah. Don't designate a specific part of the dough as challah until it's baked. So nothing is said challah until it's after baked. Ben B'Seir says put it in cold water. It's cold water as we arrest the fermentation. Amrei B'Shua says lo zel chometz shemusa by Rabbi Motzei. There's not that chometz in which you could have problem chometz by Rabbi Motzei. As the Korban says, "Lavdi Day." It's not his. Lachish Kol Hashem. Once you gave it as a name, Kroksiv L'cha, Lo Yireh L'cha. It says, "Zeno Shcha." It's not yours. Lo Shechaver Chaver. Not your friends. You guys know Mali Yedei Kohen. It says as it comes to answer Kohen yet. So Ela Mafrashta. So therefore he set aside. Manachim and Chasa Ad Ha'erev. You leave it till nightfall. Chmitza. If it's became chametz, it became chametz. Okay, so it says when Masnisa, our Mishnah is Shenit Meis. They came Tamei Achar Gilgula. Says the Korban Eda. Shekvar is Chayva Isa B'Chala. It became Tamei after Ray became Chayv and Chala. After you had made the dough. Alnina is Kodem the Gilgula. That if the dough became Tamei, if before you had mixed the batter, yeah, send a kabin. You should make it in a way that's not Mechayv Mekala. Kav at a time. Don't put 5 kavim together. 5 chamishas Ravoi Kemach, which are Chayv Mekala. Don't make Chayv Mekala. So this is talking about our mission where after you made a batter, which is large enough to be Chayv Mekala, then it became Tomei. They didn't problem. But if you didn't make that larger batter yet, don't. Make a small batter. Uvizulosha beyontiv. We're talking about where you needed the dough on Yontiv. On Losha me'erev Yontiv. But if you needed dough from before Yontif, kada, it's like that which you learned in the Brisa, the Tani, halosh isa b'Yontif, mafresh las b'Yontif. If you needed dough on Yontif, then he says like chal on Yontif. Losh me'erev Yontif, shal mafresh chalosa. If you needed it from Erev Yontif and forgot to take off its challah, also l'taltula. You're not allowed even to move it. The dough becomes muktzah. And you're certainly, you're not allowed to take off the challah. So I want to ask a question. I want to make some a deal, an inference it says here. Lush Erev Yontif. Ires lo amar ela lush. Erase low. Erase is just putting the water before you knead the dough. And lush is, of course, kneading the dough. So that's the coordinator. Parach erase omar b'braisa lush. Lush legamre. when you completely need it before Yontif. She'ein chas shum davar. It's not looking at anything, lacking anything. You could take off the challah in Erev Yontif. Kach enu mafrish challah b'Yontif. That's the can't take off the challah in Yontif. Hayirei slow b'gilgul avad. We just rolled it, which means shloso rak tarovis maimu melach b'kemach. Just put the mix without kneading the water, the salt, and the flour. For loni shla betuv, not properly kneading it. Oz mafrish challah b'Yontif. They have challah b'Yontif. My timer. Why? That's not came she no sentence. Hamay magbes chalosa. She's supposed to take off the challah immediately when she puts in the water. So even if only erates me by yoim, it should be muktzah and also to take off the challah on Yontif, right? So Amrei Shmuel Choydei Brachya Tipater B'Isa Tmea. It's talking about a dough which is tamei she'eino mavish challah el l'basayf. In that case, you only take off the challah at the end, and that's why, since it started up being tamei, so therefore she couldn't have taken off the challah once it's in this state of where it's only erase. They have to wait till the Gemara Lisha. And the Gemara Lisha, in this case, is only done on Yontif, not on Erev Yontif. Obviously, it's talking about a case where you didn't make a kabin, like suggested before. Okay, so the Amrei B'Yosef, why is this? Amrei B'Yosef Rabun, really, the Ikar Chi of Challah should only come at the end when it's fully kneaded. So it's like challah from the Isa means from the fully kneaded dough. So so why by Isa Torah they say take it off immediately at the beginning, even just after erase? Takana tiknuba. They made it takana sheyafri shenet chila shlo tamis Isa. They made that they should take off the challah immediately. Lest she's been matame the Isa in the course of kneading it, and then the challah become tummy. So therefore, it was a special kula they gave by challah Torah to take off the challah meat at the beginning of the process, so it shouldn't become tummy later on. But by Isa Tmeya, she's been doing the Isa to tummy to begin with. So then there's no such takana. You should do it at the end, which is the proper time of chiyuv. Now, Pei Moshe brings down here that in the Tosefta, it says halash isa beyond the ben tamei ben tahira mafrish. If you take it to take off, if you need a dough on on Yontif, whether it's tamei or torah, you can separate challah and challah. But high tamud lo gorisach. You will come for the following sugi. It's clear our the Yerushalmi did not have that girsa, because now we're going to talk about the other yom, whether it's about simply Pesach or the yom tov as well. So the Gemara says masnisa b'yontiv shel Pesach. Our Mishnah, this brisa which we just quoted, that says that let's read the Korban Mastisa brisa tani loshim erev yontif. If you need a dough from erev yontif, also the top lady now to move it on yontif, and so we not now think of challah dafka b'yontif shel Pesach. So it's about yontif Pesach shel afrisha serve mikoyim Pesach. You shouldn't put yourself into the situation where you have the machlekes Tanaim and our Mishnah what to do. You should just set it aside and burn it before Pesach. Now you're going to have to be mchal for naught by baking it like Rabbi Eliezer or doing one of the other eights in our Mishnah. But we throw the book at you. You should have taken care of it before Yontif. Okay, so the mutter. But the inference is that by Shavuos or Sukkos, you can move it and take off challah on Yontif, even you were lashing from before Yontif. Rabbi Acha said, "I feel about Tzeres Chag Aser. Even at Tzeres Chag it's Aser. Hashem kom locha lo yasebem, because kom locha lo yasebem, and hafrashas challah looks like a form of malacha." Now I read the Gemara. I'm not sure why I'm having a little bit of charot on having introduced that Pnei Moshe again before, because after all, you're talking about where you started from before Yontif. We're not necessarily talking about a case which he's bringing out from the Tosefta. The case of Tosefta is a case where you started on Yontif. But here we're talking about where you started for Yontif, whether you can finish it on Yontif. It could be that everybody agrees. If you start on Yontif, finish on Yontif, not a problem, regardless of the Yontif. But this is all type of, so I don't know. I bring down to Tosefta, probably just confuse the issue. I can't retract it, but okay, you get the idea. So when it says food preparation is not a problem, Mab another knivas yerek. What's between that and preparing the vegetables to take off the leaves from the stalks in order to make the stalk to prepare the stalks. You shall have to do that. It says shel truma, but the unfortunately point out that it's lav dafka shel truma. Here, any knivas yerek, it's minay yatif. So it says no zuri achila. The vegetables were suitable to eat before the kniva. The kniva is just an additional enhancement, but the dough is not roy lachila without the taking off the challah, so therefore it is what looks much more like a malacha. So again, according to Moshe, before who brought in the Tosefta, it sounds like we're talking about any taking off of challah would be a problem, but really the sugya seems to be talking about specifically a case where you had the isa ready from before Yontif, and you didn't take off the challah till the next day. Then we say no. They're too similar to malacha. I mean masakin, and we're not going to let you get away with that. Okay. Rabbanan the case by him might be another barakin is Yontif. Well, yes, okay, well, fair enough, but still, there are certain things where you really can't eat it. Well, before you could still have to do the preparation of yontif, which is the removing the refuse from legumes. And the Mara doesn't give an answer for that. Okay, so now the Mishnah goes on to discuss Rabbi Elazar's eight so that you don't cook or don't make a challah until after you bake it. So let's see the Pnei Moshe. Ketzi Yasad Rabbi Eliezer. First, Rabbi Eliezer masis the Karmel Leikol Hashem Challah Sheteafeh. Umash with the close match local Shem Chal. It sounds like before, as long as it didn't designate was Chal. Mutu Yisas V'Kol allowed to involve himself with all the pieces. Hareish Kan Achet Lo Chaz Aklau Achila. One's not suitable to eat all. The Marim, it says it's a loophole. You say it's a ruse. Become a legal loophole. It says Chuliyah Achas V'Achas. He says on each every one, oh, this is the one I want to use, and then I change my mind, right? So each one in turn is what's suitable to you. So let's see inside. Ketzi asked Rabbi Lezer, Marim v'omer ani zuani rotzachol. This one I want to eat. No, zuani rotzachol. This one I eat. V'oves kulak. And in other words, you don't I don't think you necessarily have to actually say this, but in other words, since you could say each one is the one I want to eat, so therefore you can bake all of them. And when you remove them from the oven, Marim Bomer says, Zuani Rotzel Yashin. This one I want to leave over. Zuani Rotzeshin. This one I want to leave over. And final analysis. In other words, you're allowed to select. I'll say, this is the one I want to eat today. And they say, no, this is the one I want to eat today. Again, I'm not sure I have to actually say this explicitly, but this is what's the thought process behind this legal loophole. You leave one. So the Kormei says betanur challah. You leave it in the oven and let it burn. So the Pnei Moshe says does not say that. He just says achas, but presumably it's the same thing because also you have to leave one in the oven because of the Sarav Kachim B'Yontif. But, not true. You'll see Pnei Moshe saying he does not learn that way. But the point of was like Korbaneda. Leave it in the oven. Umishar Achas, Amar Leah B'Shua, so we said, how can you leave one in the oven? It says, Sarav Kachim B'Yontif. It's like you're burning Kachim B'Yontif by leaving the oven, and that it's not like you are. But I'm not sure it says Kisorev. Perhaps the Pnei Moshe says what he's about to say, as we shall see. B'Shua said, Lezer said, "Me, so I got burned on its own." So the Pnei Moshe says, again, the fascinating Pnei Moshe says, when Pnei Moshe says Mishayir Achas, he means to leave it outside the oven, not in the oven. And he says, Avagav Lav Sorv Mamashu, even though you're not burning it. It says, after you bake it, you give it the same Challah, Mishayir Achas, leave one out. Harei, it's faithful menace. It's designated for burning. It's as if you're deliberately, it looks like you're deliberately setting aside for sreifa, right? So that is, Rabbi Yeshua says, for me it's good. The Amina, I said, my prashim yichad ad erev vazu sarfa, and then you burn it. But the but according to you, that Mishayr Achas, which is fully formed, I guess, and fully baked, so therefore it says, it looks much more like you are sort of Kachim Yotif. Fascinating name, Moshe. And it says, Me'alein Nisrafin, again, Moshe deviates from the simple pshat in the words. He says, the Mias Eino sort of Mamish, Yom El Mishayr Achas, no, of course, you're not burning mamish, you're leaving one. But again, the Korban is much more a simple shot, right? It's very much to say. It says this. It says mashim shire achas start kachim yotiv sharing these surface, but they're only leaving one. The oven's getting burnt. So while laying this oven, you look a lot meaning of it. He's not doing anything. So the Korban is much more simple in the Gemara than the Pnei Moshe. Let's just go a little bit to Amrav here. Amarlo, the Pnei Moshe is it li Rabbi Yeshua. Eliezer changed it, said Rabbi Yeshua. Article changed it to Amarlo Rabbi Eliezer. Just change the word altogether. It's Korbaneda. But anyway, it's all both the same thing. So Rabbi Eliezer said to Rabbi Yeshua, "Let's say so Rabbi Motzei, according to your shita in the Mishnah, you said just leave it over and take care of it after nightfall. So what about Rabbi Motzei? Right? In other words, okay, it's true. It's not the mitzvah on it, but still you have chametz around the house. Okay, so it's not dafka there over by Motzei, but the point is that having chametz around is not a comfortable thing. It says mutar lavra mitzvah below taseh shlabas of. It's better to be over a mitzvah say which has not come from you. No, shave al taseh. It's Yerushalmi. We've had it before. This is Yerushalmi Sheif al Tasa. Don't do anything. Just be passive. Mitzvah Lo says it's supposed to be a lav, which is come in front of you. In other words, kumbasei, which is although Pnei Moshe have to leave Pnei Moshe's revolution side aside to leave it in the oven and burn it is like doing a mice again. It's lav dafka. It's not a specific mice over here because it's left in the oven, but you are burning the kachim there on the other side, so it's like kumbasei. So we're saying better to do it to shave al tasa and let it become it's not being over the by it's not l'cha, better to let it rise on its own and take care of it after the yom is over than for you to leave it in the oven and have it burn, which is actually doing a ma'aseh b'yadayim. Or it could be that even the baking itself is considered to be the ma'aseh b'yadayim because ultimately, because you're doing that through the rules you're doing, you're coming out that you're baking something which you're not supposed to be baked on Yontif because one of these pieces is going to be challah, and even though you have a loophole, it's a kumbaseh and therefore it's worth. So the Gemara is going to, of course, say that this is something which the shittas are consistent, that also the kumbaseh shevat parameters we shall see elsewhere, but we'll leave that for tomorrow.